Picture this. You're standing at the airline check-in counter, suitcase packed with everything you need for 2 weeks in Italy, passport in hand, only to have the agent look up at you with that expression. The one that says your trip is about to get derailed before you even reach security. They slide your passport back across the counter and say the words no traveler wants to hear. I'm sorry, but we can't let you board today. Your passport is valid. You checked and it doesn't expire for another 4 months. But that's exactly the problem. And if you don't know about the invisible rule that just grounded your vacation, you're walking into the same nightmare that's blindsiding thousands of travelers every single week. The game has changed, and the people getting hurt the most are the ones who have been playing by the old rules their entire lives. For decades, we were taught that as long as your passport had any validity left, you were good to go. That logic is now obsolete, and the industry isn't exactly putting up billboards to warn you. There's a web of new enforcement policies, hidden fees, and app-based requirements that have turned air travel into a minefield for anyone who isn't constantly refreshing government websites. I'm not talking about minor inconveniences like longer lines or grumpier staff. I'm talking about policies that will cost you hundreds of dollars, strand you at the gate, or force you to cancel plans you've been looking forward to all year. But here's the good news. Once you know where the traps are, you can sidestep every single one of them. What makes this situation even more frustrating is that the airlines and government agencies aren't coordinating their messaging. You'll get an email from your airline confirming your booking with zero mention of passport validity requirements. The booking website doesn't flag it. Your travel agent, if you still use one, might not know the specific rules for your destination country. You're essentially expected to be an expert in international travel law before you can enjoy a simple vacation. And that's not reasonable. The burden has been shifted entirely onto your shoulders, and when something goes wrong, you're the one who pays the price. Not the airline that failed to warn you, not the booking platform that didn't flag the issue, and certainly not the government agency that changed the rules without a comprehensive public awareness campaign. I've been a travel advisor for 12 years now, and honestly, my senior clients are the reason I still love what I do. You've traveled more, seen more, and frankly, you handle turbulence, both literal and metaphorical, better than anyone half your age. I've had travelers in their 70s tell me stories about navigating foreign train stations with nothing but a paper map and sheer determination. And those are the kinds of adventures I want to protect. That's why I'm breaking down every single trap that's waiting for you between now and your next boarding gate. Starting with the passport rule that's rejecting people left and right even though their documents are technically valid. The wisdom and resourcefulness that comes with decades of travel experience should be an advantage, not a liability. You're the generation that figured out how to navigate entirely foreign countries without Google Translate, who managed currency exchanges before ATMs were on every corner, who handled lost luggage and missed connections with grace and problem-solving skills that would put most millennials to shame. But the systems that are being built today aren't designed with your strengths in mind. They're built for people who live on their phones, who check apps compulsively, who assume that everything important will be communicated digitally. That's a fundamental mismatch, and it's creating unnecessary barriers for experienced travelers who deserve better. Let's talk about the 6-month rule, because this is where I see the most devastation. Most countries now require that your passport be valid for at least 6 months beyond your return date, not your departure date. So if you're leaving for Europe on March 1st and coming back March 15th, your passport needs to be valid until at least September 15th. If it expires in July, you're getting denied at check-in, and there's no amount of arguing that will change the agent's mind. They don't make the rules. They just enforce them, and the airline will get fined if they let you board. Here's what makes this so cruel. The rule isn't universal. Mexico and Canada are generally more lenient. The Caribbean islands vary wildly depending on which one you're visiting. But the European Union, the United Kingdom, and most of Asia enforce this aggressively. I've watched travelers with valid passports get turned away because they didn't account for this buffer, and rebooking last minute costs a fortune if it's even possible. The airlines won't refund you. Travel insurance won't cover it because it's considered your error. You eat the entire cost of the trip because of a rule nobody bothered to tell you about until it was too late. Check your passport right now, not just the expiration date, but calculate 6 months past your return flight. If you're cutting it close, renew immediately, because passport processing times are still unpredictable. And let's talk about those processing times, because that's another landmine that's caught countless travelers off guard. The State Department will tell you that routine processing takes 6 to 8 weeks, and expedited service takes 3 to 5 weeks. Those are lies, or at best, wildly optimistic estimates that don't account for the backlog that's been building since the pandemic. I've had clients wait 12 weeks for a routine renewal, even when they submitted everything correctly the first time. Expedited service that's supposed to take 3 weeks has stretched to 7 or 8. If you're planning a trip that's more than 6 months out and your passport is anywhere close to that expiration buffer, start the renewal process now. Not next month, not when you get around to it, right now. The passport photo requirements have also become absurdly strict, and this is hitting older travelers particularly hard. The photo needs to be taken within the last 6 months. It has to show your current appearance, and if you've changed your hair color, lost or gained significant weight, or had any medical procedures that altered your appearance, your old passport photo might not match closely enough. I've seen people get their applications rejected and sent back because the photo didn't meet the exact specifications. Backgrounds that weren't perfectly white, shadows that were too dark, glasses that created a glare, even natural smile lines that the automated system flagged as distortions. Every rejection adds weeks to your processing time, and you don't find out until the envelope shows up in your mailbox with your application stamped insufficient. Here's a tip that will save you weeks of frustration. Don't use the photo booth at the post office or the drugstore. Go to a professional passport photo service, preferably one that specializes in official documents. Yes, it costs more, maybe $20 or $30 instead of $15, but they know the current requirements, they have proper lighting, and they'll retake the photo until it's perfect. They'll also give you a digital copy that you can use for future applications or emergency replacements. If you wear glasses, take them off for the photo unless you absolutely cannot remove them for medical reasons. And even then, get a letter from your eye doctor explaining why. The system is looking for reasons to reject applications, so don't give it any ammunition. But even if your passport is bulletproof, there's another layer of hassle that's specifically designed to frustrate older travelers, and it starts the second you step into the security line. You've probably heard about TSA PreCheck for years and maybe wrote it off as something for business travelers or people who fly every week. But let me flip that assumption on its head. If you're over 60 and you don't have PreCheck, you are paying a hidden tax every single time you fly, and it's not measured in dollars, it's measured in time, dignity, and physical strain. Standard TSA screening is harder on seniors. You're taking off shoes, belts, jackets, pulling out laptops, removing liquids, and standing in longer lines surrounded by impatient travelers who act like you're the reason they're running late. If you have a knee replacement, a pacemaker, or any medical device, you're getting pulled aside for additional screening, which means even more time standing, more strangers touching you, and more chances for your belongings to get mixed up on the conveyor belt. I've had clients tell me they skip trips altogether because airport security has become so exhausting. That's heartbreaking, and it's completely avoidable. The physical toll of standard screening is something that doesn't get talked about enough. If you have arthritis in your hands, manipulating tiny zippers on liquids bags and fumbling with shoelaces while people are pushing bins behind you is genuinely painful. If you have balance issues, standing on one foot to remove your shoes while holding your belongings is a full risk. If you have hearing loss, the barked instructions from TSA agents in a noisy terminal can be impossible to follow, leading to confusion and further delays. And if you have any kind of anxiety about crowds or being touched by strangers, the pat-down process that comes with additional screening can be genuinely traumatic. These aren't minor inconveniences. These are legitimate barriers that make travel less accessible for people who have every right to explore the world. TSA PreCheck costs $85 and it's good for 5 years. That breaks down to $17 a year. For that, you keep your shoes on, your laptop stays in your bag, you don't remove light jackets, and you go through a dedicated lane that's almost always shorter. The enrollment process is simple. You fill out an application online, schedule a 10-minute appointment at an enrollment center, bring your ID and passport, get fingerprinted, and you're done. Within a few weeks, you'll have a known traveler number that you add to every flight reservation. If you have any kind of medical implant or mobility issue, this alone will change your travel experience. Have you ever had a frustrating experience going through TSA screening? I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Sometimes it helps just to know you're not alone. There's also global entry, which includes TSA PreCheck but also speeds up your return through customs when you come back from international trips. It costs $100 for 5 years, just $15 more than PreCheck alone, and if you travel internationally even once a year, it's worth every penny. Instead of waiting in the regular customs line that can take an hour or more, you go to a kiosk, scan your passport and fingerprints, answer a few questions on a screen, and you're through in 5 minutes. No exhausted customs agent asking you questions after a 10-hour flight. No standing in line while your knees ache and your back screams. Just quick, efficient processing that gets you to baggage claim and out of the airport while everyone else is still shuffling through the regular line. Now, let's say you've got your valid passport and you've made it through security without a hitch. You're feeling good, but when you get to the gate, there's a new ambush waiting, and this one lives on your phone. Airlines are quietly phasing out paper boarding passes, and if you don't have their app downloaded before you get to the airport, you're going to have a problem. I know many of you prefer paper. It's tangible, it doesn't run out of battery, and it doesn't require you to squint at a tiny screen while 100 people are pushing past you. But the airlines don't care about your preference, they care about data and upselling. When you use their app, they can send you push notifications about seat upgrades, baggage fees, and last-minute gate changes. They can also change your flight details and bury the announcement in a notification you might miss. Some airlines are now charging fees at the check-in counter if you insist on a paper ticket, calling it a processing fee even though printing a piece of paper costs them pennies. It's a shakedown, but it's becoming standard. If you don't have a smartphone, you're not out of options. You can still check in online using a computer and screenshot or write down your confirmation code, but you need to know this is happening so you're not blindsided at the airport. What's particularly insidious about the app requirement is how it creates a secondary class of travelers who are treated as less valuable because they're not digitally connected in the way the airline prefers. If you show up without the app, you're often directed to a separate line. You might be charged fees that app users don't pay, and you're excluded from real-time updates that could save your trip if there's a delay or cancellation. The message is clear: conform to our preferred technology or be penalized. For seniors who don't own smartphones or who prefer not to use them for travel, this is discrimination dressed up as innovation, and it's getting worse with every passing year. The app situation feeds directly into another scam that's hitting families and couples harder than ever: seat selection fees. There was a time when you booked a ticket and you got to pick your seat for free. Those days are gone. Now, unless you pay extra, the airline assigns you a seat at random, and if you're traveling with a spouse or family member, there's a very good chance you'll be separated. I'm talking opposite ends of the plane. This is intentional. The airlines know that most people will pay to sit together, so they've turned basic courtesy into a revenue stream. Here's the part that makes my blood boil. Seniors are getting targeted with premium seat upsells more aggressively than younger travelers. The algorithm sees your age, assumes you have disposable income and a preference for comfort, and suddenly the only available seats near your travel companion are in Economy Plus or Preferred, zones that cost anywhere from $30 to $75 each. One way. Do the math on a round-trip flight for 2 people and you're looking at an extra $120 to $300 just to sit next to the person you're traveling with. The psychology behind this is calculated and cruel. Airlines know that older couples often travel together for medical reasons. One spouse might need assistance, or there's comfort in having your partner nearby during a long flight. They know that seniors are less likely to complain publicly or fight back against these fees because you were raised to be polite and avoid making scenes. They know that you're more likely to have savings you can dip into rather than credit card debt you're trying to avoid. So they've designed a system that targets your vulnerabilities and extracts maximum revenue from your desire for basic human dignity, which is being able to sit next to your spouse on a flight you both paid for. But all of this, passports, pre-checked apps, seats, pales in comparison to the chaos I'm seeing around medications. This is where travelers are getting detained, fined, and even arrested because they didn't realize the rules changed. If you take any prescription medication, and most of us over a certain age do, you need to hear this. The TSA has tightened enforcement on how medications are packed in carry-ons, and international customs agencies have started cracking down on pills that aren't in their original prescription bottles. I had a client last year who used one of those daily pill organizers, you know, the ones with little compartments for each day of the week. She packed it in her purse for a trip to Greece, and when she landed in Athens, customs pulled her aside. The pills weren't labeled. She didn't have the prescription paperwork with her. It took 3 hours, a call to her doctor back in the States, and a lot of stressful translation before they let her go, all because she wanted to keep her pills organized. That's the reality now. Here's the truth that nobody in the industry wants to admit. Air travel has become a psychological game designed to extract as much money and data from you as possible while making you feel like you're the problem if you can't keep up. The 6-month passport rule, the app requirements, the seat fees, the medication crackdowns, the gutted loyalty programs. None of this is happening by accident. It's a coordinated shift that punishes the travelers who aren't constantly online, refreshing policy updates, and gaming the system. But you're not the problem. You're experienced, you're capable, and now you're informed. You know about the passport buffer. You know pre-check is worth it. You know the app game and the seat selection scam. You know how to pack your medications legally and how to protect what's left of your frequent flyer value. That puts you ahead of 90% of the people who will walk into an airport this week and get blindsided by rules they didn't see coming. The industry changed the rules without asking you, but you just changed your strategy, and that's how you win. If this saved you from a costly mistake or a major headache, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I'm here every week breaking down the latest changes so you can keep traveling with the same confidence you've always had. I'm the Terminal Traveler, and I'll see you on the next one. Safe travels.